Two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Delusions of Grandeur. I am your host, and today I bring to you a film that pretty much kickstarted the Batman in theatrical form with Batman the movie, or otherwise known as Batman, from and filmed in 1966, and it was uh, 2 months after the 1966 television series season 1 ended. Directed by Leslie H. Martinson, and it stars Burt Ward and Adam West, along with Cesar Romero, Lee Merriweather, Burgess Meredith, among other cast members from the original.
And the Riddler?
So let's just see what IMDb says about.
Poor Riddler, got forgotten.
I haven't forgotten about him.
Well, you mentioned everybody but him.
I said and other cast members.
Exactly.
I figured I could get to him.
Poor Riddler got forgotten. And you're the real Riddler. Okay.
Frank Gershon.
Riddler.
Frank Gershon from the who is the true Riddler, the one that I remember the best, to be honest.
The true Riddler that he forgot.
No, I didn't forget him. I just figured eventually we could mention him. But that being said, this is what IMDb says about the film. The dynamic duo faces four supervillains who plan to hold the world for ransom with the help of a secret invention that instantly dehydrates people. So, going into first impressions here, was this a first time watch for you, Boris?
Actually, yes.
Wow.
Until you guys told me about this movie, I thought the one with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson was the first Batman movie ever made. So, at one point, I did hear someone saying about Adam West playing Batman, but I thought it was in some TV series or something. I didn't know there was a movie with him as Batman. And it was
Several
definitely.
movies.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Several movies.
Well, this is the only movie that we get with Adam West and Burt Ward in live action as Batman and Robin.
There's another.
Yes.
There's another one.
There were no others than this.
Yeah, and as far as my first impressions go, well, it was definitely an interesting experience, although I kind of think that in spite of the time when it was made, it could have been a little better. I think when I compare it to the first Superman movie, in this one, I think the costumes were better in Superman than in this one.
Superman was in 78. This is 66. So it's 11 years sooner.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the first Superman was from the 60s as well.
Nope. 1978.
Oh, then my mistake. I apologize. But yeah, I have to say, since it's an official Batman movie, okay, if it was a B movie or something, then I probably wouldn't have expected anything different. But since it's supposedly an official movie, these costumes, which look a lot like some cosplay stuff, it was a bit drawing my attention that the costumes should have been a little better. But okay, if it's really older than the Superman movies, then okay, maybe I'm wrong. But aside from that, okay, I have to admit the movie was still a lot of fun. uh, Maybe for modern standards, it was more humorous than really thrilling, which it was maybe supposed to be originally. But yeah, I did still have fun watching it. So,
Is that the end of your first impression then?
ooh, I think so.
Okay. Going over to Mr. P. N. Gwynn. Uh, was this a first time watch for you?
Nope.
And what were your
Watched it was when I was a kid. When it came out, as well as the TV series. I mean, not quite when it came out, because I saw it when reruns in the early '70s. Watched them with my mom. Uh, my mom liked the shows, but didn't like the show. She liked the shows, but she hated the bam, smash, pow. Um,
Oh, oh yeah,
so
that.
I was a kid, so I enjoyed them. Um, so they still have a place in my heart. I mean, I'm glad they don't do that with the new Batman movies.
Uh,
I've outgrown it. I mean,
uh,
I like it in these old ones because it's part of it. Yeah, this movie is definitely. Even as a kid, I thought they were funny, in a way. I mean, even as a little kid, I saw it as a little more humorous than serious.
uh,
But I've always enjoyed it, and it's great to revisit it. You know, there's a lot of things I noticed in it that was like dope, like just fun, either something funny or something stupid. Like that guy selling a submarine, a nuclear warhead submarine to somebody. And Batman points out, like, that somebody doesn't even give their real address, like,
oh yeah.
it was just like really like, duh. I also noticed Batman wasn't the one figuring out the riddles, it was Robin.
Oh,
Robin was the
good,
one saying the riddles. Um,
good noticing.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean
well, yeah,
Batman's known as the world's greatest detective, but it was actually Robin who was saying all the riddles. Not saying Batman couldn't have, but they had Robin doing it. So,
well, he
which
would say something like uh, so here is the riddle, Robin, and let's see if you can figure it out just like I have. Like we already know that he knows.
yeah,
I uh, I have to say, by the way, Krol, when you mentioned this scene when words were appearing on the screen like "pow" and so on, I was like, this one totally needs a spunow.
yeah, I was thinking of that at the same time.
Well,
Really?
it did
Yeah,
kind
well,
of
I knew you would be thinking that, so
it,
Sorry, what did you say?
I knew
I
you would
said
be thinking it.
Yeah.
well, is that the end of your first impressions then, at least for now?
Yeah,
Okay. Uh, Tammy, was this a first time watch for you?
No, I don't remember the last time I watched it, but like Kroll, I saw the show as reruns also. I used to watch it with my great grandfather, and he gets such a kick out of it when they would do the thing where they would show the words, bang and boom and all that, and he'd sit there and he'd go and he'd mimic them.
I know.
and and he'd have it was if it was fun watching them with him, as a kid, the shows, and he'd make comments too about, well, that's just silly or things like that, because the movie it was good, but it was quite humorous. The props were like way, like overly done and silly and out of really like out there and things like there was a lot of stuff that was
Uh,
just quite humorous compared to the Batman movies nowadays. This is not dark or any or like the ones nowadays. This is you got your criminals and everything and they're fighting the criminals, but it's humorous more than you know you know what I'm
I
saying. It's
uh,
more humorous than anything.
I have to say, actually, when I compare these new Batman movies to the older ones, maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually somewhat prefer the older ones, the ones with Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer and George Clooney. Like they were more fun, not so dark, so attention heavy, and I kind of think superhero movies should be more fun than the way they did these newer ones.
Boris,
Yes?
bite your tongue.
W-
How dare you mention?
Sorry.
How dare you mention George Clooney?
Sorry, what
But
did you
yes,
say?
I said, how dare you
Oh.
mention George Clooney?
Well,
I mean, Val Kilmer was bad enough, but George Clooney, come on, that was horrible.
well, okay, in a way, maybe they are, but they are. Those movies are more fun, and the newer ones are okay. I do
Michael
horror
Keaton's
movies and
Michael
stuff. So,
Keaton was a lot more serious than the other two.
uh, well,
But
okay, yeah.
I disagree with you. If you want fun superheroes, go watch Marvel.
Uh, I'm not sure about that, especially with their newer movies, which are a clusterfuck, if you ask me.
Well, I haven't seen Morbius yet, so but I did see Doctor Strange too, and I thought that was great.
Yeah,
well, we
why?
didn't see Doctor Strange 2 yet, so keep that to yourself.
Did I say
Why?
anything else? I'm not a spoiler person.
My
My
problem
mother
with
taught me my mother taught me a lesson when I was a kid. I used to spoil shit for her, and she got me back, and I learned my lesson.
my problem with the newer Marvel movies is that they no longer make them standalone. That they are nowadays you cannot fully understand the new Marvel movie without having seen all the previous
I know
ones.
it's fucking awesome, isn't it?
Well, I kind of wish they didn't do that.
Yeah,
Because
well,
this makes them more difficult to follow unless you're a really hardcore fan who really wants to make sure to have seen them all.
I've seen them all.
um,
Anyways, I enjoyed the movie though.
um, and I'm not sure when I first saw the movie. I know I've seen it several times when it was on television. But I've seen the series a heck of a lot more than I've actually watched this movie. But I do remember the dehydration moments. I didn't remember the rubber shark.
Yeah, I do not remember. I didn't remember the Red Shark,
oh, the shark was.
but I just
I remembered it being
got
a lot more realistic when I was a kid, but now that I've seen it again, I see how bad the certain parts are. But it's a good bad, not a bad, because
yeah.
at least I know it's entertaining to see that they're tackling a rubber shark.
Uh,
Uh,
you know,
at least they didn't jump the shark.
uh, I have to say, when I was a kid, I wanted to have a Batman costume, but whichever one I found in local stores, they were all like
jokes.
What?
Yeah, they all sucked.
Yeah, they all look like very cheap costumes. Especially the capes are always short and not very impressive.
Right?
So yeah,
Like
so I
what the hell
always
was up with that? Same with the Superman too. It's like, why can't I get a real fucking cape? I mean, even as a kid, when you're short, they're still short. Like,
right.
like what the
Yeah,
hell? I used
yeah.
to put.
So
I had a Superman cape. I put on my Kermit, made him Super Kermit.
nice. So
An animal.
yeah, so when I was a kid, I was always disappointed in those Batman costumes. But now, when I saw this movie, I realized maybe those costumes are not as inconsistent with Batman as I thought they were.
I dressed up like Wonder Woman once.
Uh, sorry, Tammy, what did you say?
I dressed up like Wonder Woman once, and that was a really cheesy ass costume.
I dressed up like
Ah,
Superman quite a few times. I had underoos too. Did you have underoos,
I
Tammy?
No, it was some
sorry,
like a
under what?
plastic like costume.
Underoos.
Under
There were
rules.
underwear. There were underwear that were like the pants were like the bottoms were like the pants of Superman or Batman, and the tops were like their outfit of the top and bottom. So
Um,
they were like they were underwear that you wore to bed. But they were the superhero. They looked like superhero costumes. So
oh,
they had Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
No, I didn't have those.
Yeah. So they had two for the
oh,
boys and one for the girls. Of course, this day and age, I guess you can mix and match
They were
and whatever.
basically
Because
produced by Fruit of the Loom,
well,
a company, and yeah, not sure if you can see that, but
ooh, a little bit. Ah, oh, yeah, now I can.
yeah, Underoos.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. The merchandising, if you get my drift, it
yep.
was something of uh, to be liked because that's when merchandising was like in its prime.
Oh yeah, I had Star Wars curtains, Star Wars sheets, Star Wars pillowcase. Um,
Ooh,
you know, and all this Star Wars stuff, and I had underoos, and it's just it was great. I mean, they have a lot of stuff now that I was like, wow, where was that when I was a kid? But then there's some things that they don't have anymore that I like, like the underoos and all the curtains and sheets and stuff like that for kids. It's you know.
My mom did not believe in getting me kidsy stuff like that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you
oh,
should.
why?
She definitely should have treated you like an adult.
I
What the fuck?
remember having
You were a kid.
well
superhero
she
sheets.
well she had all antique furniture, so it was
So
the
was your room. Your room should have been yours.
the only thing that
Yeah.
she made cool in my room that I liked was that it was more of the purple like sheets and stuff because I like purple. Other than that, it was no. It went the sheets and stuff went with the antique furniture,
That's horrible.
Oh,
So
but why was she like that?
because
Just the way she was.
she didn't want a kid to begin with.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
The only time I really got to be a kid is when I was by my great grandparents. So
Or your father?
Ooh.
I didn't meet my father till I was 12.
I know, but I'm
Oh,
saying he was still a kid at 12.
Yeah.
But
well,
she had already grown up by the time she was 12.
in in the
I guess
worst
with a
case,
with a mother like that.
in the worst case, you can still be a kid nowadays if you want. You can
Oh, I'm still
collect
a
and
kid.
enjoy whatever you want. Uh, Now I will show
That's
something.
what I'm
Oh,
here for. I'm here to be a
okay.
kid.
This
Exactly.
may not have to do with superheroes, but it has to do with Harry Potter, which many people also think it is childish, although I don't really think so, but some people do. But yeah, here is a Hedwig toy that I have, and I am 31 years old, even though I don't look like that. But I
I,
am, and I still collect some toys, and I'm not ashamed of it, so.
I'm
Well, yeah.
49 and I'd collect toys. And I
I
agree, Harry
collect
Potter is
toys.
childish and I love it. And
Ah,
I don't care if other people don't. And I don't care if you think I'm childish. I pay my bills. I do what I need to do, but I have fun and I'm glad to enjoy things that people consider childish I
right.
like adult type stuff too. But I mean,
I got
yeah,
toys. I got plenty of toys.
Ooh,
I got
yeah,
the
like
I wish I had every Star Wars toy ever made. I mean, I would be the happiest kid in the world.
I
I have a
understand.
I have a little guy that's from Guardians of the Galaxy, the I am Groot,
Oh,
Oh, great!
and he
oh, nice.
and he dances around and
Oh, you got
everything. It
Baby
was I
Groot.
am Groot. Yeah,
Oh, cute.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I spent $30 on a fucking toy for myself. Okay.
There you go.
That's okay. And now, Krol, when you mentioned you have some adult stuff too, as you saw, I have some owl toys like what you saw, but on the other hand, I have stuff like this. So yeah, I have a crazy mixture of merchandise as well.
I
Did you
probably have about.
did you
You
look
guys
at
all
the
know I like my wolves. I probably got about 20 stuffed wolves.
did you
I've
look at
got
the
probably 20 stuffed turtles, so.
we're kind of getting off track of the movie though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
So,
right.
in the very beginning of the film, we get the dynamic duo as they are fighting a shark. Uh, what do you think
Well,
about this?
actually, Robin's flying the helicopter, the Batcopter, and he dips Batman into the water, and then he comes back up with a shark on his leg, and I just could not stop laughing that whole entire scene.
I couldn't
Um,
either because he's
I
eating
just
that
couldn't
thing and
stop laughing.
you could tell it's a rubber shark and he's still. I'm sitting here laughing my ass off. And
Yeah, you can tell
Uh,
it's a little bit rather the rubber shark, but just
uh,
all of it was just so fun. Because just before that, I mean, I've seen this quite a few times as a kid, but it's been many years. So I don't. Subconsciously I might have remembered, but not ahead that I remembered because I was thinking, hopefully they don't run into a bat shark because they were talking about bat and this and bat and that, And then there was a shark. I'm like, oh my god. Then too bad Batman didn't have shark repellent. And then he calls up to Robin to get shark.
shark
uh,
repellent.
So I'm just laughing even
He's this
harder.
big ass can of hairspray looking motherfucker.
Yeah,
I have to
and,
say,
and
It's
Robin,
been a while since I see the movie too, and I didn't remember the damn shark, but I couldn't
yeah,
stop
I
laughing.
didn't remember it at all. I don't know why, but oh my god, I just could not stop laughing all the way till he sprays the thing and it falls off and explodes
Explodes.
and stuff. But I'm just laughing the
no.
entire time. I mean, belly moving laughter, not just giggles or whatever. I mean, I was belly laughing. I was just dying laughing.
I,
Trying to
Well,
remember its
evidently,
name.
It's
Yeah.
because they get a tip that Commodore Schmidlap is in danger aboard his yacht. Um,
By the way, sorry, I was going to say it's funny to think of the fact that the sharks were more realistic in Sharknado than in Batman.
Yay, they were. But again, this is 1966, so gotta cut them a little slack.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Now we did forget the one scene when they heard about the boat, and then they jumped on. They opened the secret grandfather clock into the cave and went down the poles. And as they're sliding down, see a big lever, and it says "lever to change costumes." And Batman hits it, and then they come down, and they're in their Batman and Robin costumes, which again I kind of forgot about that too, and I thought that was neat how they add that in there instead of making people guess like, oh, how did they change into their costumes when they're sliding down the poles? They answered before you had the question. Now there's more questions to that answer, but I'll just drop those questions to enjoy the film.
well, in any case, the shark explodes, and then Batman and Robin head back to Commissioner Gordon's office,
And their ship
where they
disappears.
figure out that the tip was set up by the United Underworld, which is a gathering of 4 of the most powerful.
Well, at that point, they hadn't figured out it was all 4 of them yet. They asked who had escaped, wasn't in Arkham right now. Who was, well, they didn't say Arkham, but they said who hadn't been captured yet, and they went through the list, and it was Penguin, Catwoman, Joker, and the Riddler. All 4, and they're like any one of them could have done it, and then they looked through the clues and figured out, oh no, it could be all 4 of them working together.
Oh, speaking of which, does anyone know how come they didn't have other Batman villains here, like Two-Face, Poison Ivy, and so on?
Well, to be honest, I don't think in the original series, the Batman series, I think Poison Ivy was one of the ones that came to play, but
I don't
you don't
remember Poison Ivy in the original
get Two-Face
series.
in the series.
Yeah, I don't know Two-Face. I don't remember Poison Ivy. I could be wrong. I remember they had a lot of different villains that you wouldn't think of, like the Clock
You had
Master and just all kinds of different villains that you don't really hear
Vincent
about.
Price played one of the villains as Egghead.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
But
There was a lot of villains, but yeah, Poison Ivy, and of course it was way before Bane's time, and they didn't have Two-Face either. So a lot of the famous ones they didn't have, but they did have a Clayface though.
yeah,
Mr. Freeze.
Yep, they
yeah,
had
yeah,
Mr. Freeze. So, and they had a big gallery, but these 4 were like known as the biggest 4. So for them to combine forces, it was like, oh no, they're gonna take over the world or attempt to.
They did. I think have Poison Ivy. They did have Clayface. They had the Mad Hatter.
Yep,
They
Mad
did
Hatter.
have. Let's see. They did have King Tut.
Yeah, that's another one. That was silly.
Face was another one. The Puzzler. Marcia, Queen of the Diamonds. Nova Clavicle. Colonel Gum. And I think that's about it.
Who?
Besides these 4, which Frank Gershon as the Riddler is phenomenal. I think he's just he does He's the only character that really goes dark at any given point in time. At times, really, he can be quite comical and quite giddy, but he can also put on a very good straight face.
Who?
He's the only one that seems to get mad at certain points.
Mm,
But yeah. So we have them figuring out that these 4 villains are basically the 4 criminals can equip themselves with a dehydrator that can turn humans into dust, which was an invention of Schmidlaps, who at this moment is unaware that he has actually been kidnapped. In fact, they have a dude right outside the door in their underground that is like bicycling and blowing a horn, and there's a fucking, it looks like a window shade with water like right out his window, like he doesn't realize that's not real water.
I mean, it's funny that they go through all this trouble to make him think he isn't kidnapped, but the question is, why? Why do they go through all this trouble? It's hilarious, but yeah, why? Like, yeah, there's actually no sane reason or insane reason, but it is funny. It is pretty damn funny. Just like they go through all the trouble after they capture Bruce Wayne to make him think that that the reporter is Miss Kinka is also kidnapped, even though it's actually Catwoman.
Yeah, why does Batman not recognize Catwoman? That's another.
Well, why did Catwoman not recognize Batman?
why don't they recognize Clark Kent as Superman?
Because that's magic. That's already been established.
Sorry, what did you say?
That's magic. When he puts those glasses on, there's some kind of magic that pops up to make everyone not really see him for what he is.
Where was that explained?
In the comics. Well, I couldn't tell you exactly the issue.
Whoa.
But anyways, there is there is a news gathering in Gotham that Batman is very theatrical about, and he's asked by Miss Kishka from supposedly the Russian whatever newscast that she's from, and she asked him to take off his mask, and they're like, no, that can't happen, because otherwise y'all would know our secret identities, and that would not be cool.
Not even the families they live with know.
But yeah, so ultimately after this is when we start to get to see a little bit more of the Joker and the Riddler and Catwoman and
and her cute little black cat.
Yeah, another thing I want to mention too, when they were flying out in the helicopter, they went past the roof where there was a bunch of bikini-clad girls waving, and Robin waved right to them all and stuff, and then there's some men in uniform, and Batman waves to them, and I'm thinking, wow, so maybe Batman is gay, but Robin's not. Because he waits with men and Robin waits with women.
Well, he is kind of like your Smokey Bear version of Batman, because he does at certain points refer to justice from time to time, and even there's a moment where he's like, Alfred, do you have your driver's license?
Yeah,
Then
I
drive
noticed. I noticed every time they got into the vehicles, they put on their seatbelts, and they would show they're putting their seatbelts on. And
Well,
this was in the '60s
they're
before it was a
all
law.
about promoting safety and
Yep.
following the law and stay in school type things. Just like He-Man used to do. At the end of every He-Man episode, you would get that you know that moralistic thing that they wanted to make sure that the kids who were watching in the audience were doing their fellow duty of going to school and wearing your seatbelt and following the law and upholding it. These were things that
Because that's what He-Man would do.
exactly. But yeah.
Yeah, that's why I grew up to believe that the cops were the good guys, and unfortunately, I grew up and got older and realized, that isn't always the case.
Oh,
That's a different story.
No, there is always a fine line between law and order. So
Yeah,
and
and good and good and bad.
And legal doesn't always equal moral.
I don't like that
No,
word.
but
Sorry, what did you say?
I
I
still don't
do
like that
think
word.
that I do think that in film history, they do make cops out to be like these bungling fools. Like even as early as like Charlie Chaplin and the Three Stooges, they make the cops
Keystone
look out
Cops.
these stupid,
The
stupid
Keystone
individuals who just
Cops. I mean, can't get any.
yeah. I mean, look at Chief O'Hara in here. He's him and Commissioner Gordon are always doing whatever Batman and wants, except for when he's in dire trouble or if he's being thought as being the bad guy.
Well, yeah, they're always like, "Well, so what do you think we should do? What's the next step, Batman?" Da, 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 and they just about trip over
Yeah,
each
they
other
were
to
they
go
were
to
they
go
were
for the bat
basically
phone or
puppets.
whatever.
They were basically puppets of Batman.
Well, yeah, technically, if he was really on the wrong side of the law, he probably could have gotten away with a hell of a lot, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Because he could just needle them one way, and they'll do exactly what he says, just a snap of a finger. But
Wouldn't that be something?
that being said, Batman gets to go. Well, Bruce Wayne gets to go on a date with Miss Kishka, which apparently he doesn't realize that she is Catwoman, but
Kit Kat.
yeah, like that wouldn't have tipped him off or
I
anything.
was thinking the same thing. I'm like, now that it's kind of tipped him off.
Or when she says the word perfectly.
Yeah, that too.
Ah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
I have to say, no, she was my favorite one among the villains here. She looked
I mean, it's
the
just like the
best.
guy, just like when Penguin was trying to pretend to be the other guy, and he was always wah 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 wah.
I do have to say something about the character of Catwoman before we go on. In the television series, she was played by Julie Newmar. But because of either a scheduling conflict and the fact that she actually had some back problems at the time, she couldn't do the role of Catwoman in the
Oh,
series. In fact, I believe she was working on a film called McKenna's Gold at the time. And it's very possible that there might have been something about money involved at the time that wasn't told to the public. the reason why she wasn't in the film. In fact, there was even something I think that she wasn't even aware that the role existed while she was filming this movie.
Oh,
But that being said, Lee Merriweather took up the role, and I thought she didn't do a bad job.
Oh, she did a great job. I mean, I've liked a lot of Catwoman.
But in any case, so Kit Kat, gets
yeah.
supposedly kidnapped by the villains, and they basically dupe Bruce Wayne, in this whole scheme of things, into thinking that Kit Kat is Kit Kat and Mishka, and ultimately somehow the dynamic duo. Oh, I do like this whole thing that Robin has been tailing Batman on this date, and he whenever a private moment came up, he was like, "Oh, turn the fucking thing off.
We're
We're
gonna
having
turn
some
this off,
privacy."
and then he ends
It's
up
like
turning it off,
it's
and
like he started to get
Mrs.
jealous or something like that,
No,
Uh,
I think he was just playing more like a kid that doesn't want to see his father-like figure getting it on with his woman.
Yeah.
yeah, uh, maybe sometimes privacy isn't as it's made out to be.
Well, and Alfred was trying to tell him, "Hey, we should probably keep the darn thing on," but
Right?
ultimately do turn the thing on, and they realize, "Holy Moses, that man has actually been in fact kidnapped."
There's actually interesting note. There's actually been 8 women that have played Catwoman
Oh,
Yep.
throughout the years.
oh, by the way, you know what I just noticed? When Batman was having this phone call with this admiral or whatever the guy was, when he said this boat was bought by someone named the Penguin, and Batman immediately realized that was the Penguin. But when this woman was named Kitka, it didn't make him think it might be Catwoman.
Right? That wasn't in the script. But yeah, Julie Newmar, like you said, was the original Catwoman. And then Eartha Kitt took her place in the final season of Batman, and that was the first black woman to play a Catwoman. And
Ooh.
thought that was an interesting note there.
Oh yeah. I believe it was the last 3 episodes of the 3rd season, I believe. But yeah, that is definitely an interesting note. And after this movie in the 2nd season, Julie Newmar came back for the role. So I guess she didn't have too much of a hang up over not being in the movie or whatnot.
Oh,
But in any case, um, of course, the villains have a submarine that that looks exactly like a penguin. Well, looks more like a duck than it does a penguin, but
They're trying to make it look like a penguin.
yeah, they try and make it look like a penguin. The Joker here, he seems to be more of a lackey in this movie, whereas he has been a leader of a gang of dudes in the TV series. Uh, but he seems to be playing more of a lackey type guy.
oh,
Like he seems to be more of a helpful
Oh,
person.
there's a time when he says something to Penguin, like not bossing them around, and and then he says, "You're the leader. You're the leader on land, but out here, I'm in charge. You see, or something." I get exactly what the Penguin said. It rhymes, and it was neat. But yeah, he basically the Joker did stand up once, like stop acting like you're in charge type thing. But Penguin, mentioned that basically he's the captain of the boat, and so while they're at sea, he is in charge, basically.
Well, and the Riddler is interesting because he's the one who sends out like these riddles, and his stuff is interesting because I like how after like a rocket like shoots up into the air, once the smoke clears, is his message in the sky.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
It's like that moment in Wizard of Oz when the witch circles the sky and says, "Surrender, Dorothy."
Nice one. I didn't think of that.
Yes,
But
I
you
think.
notice them flying around on umbrellas.
yeah, that was interesting. They flew in on like these gigantic umbrellas, and when they kidnapped Bruce Wayne, he ended up
Boy, that
being.
Bruce Wayne can really fight, can he? I'm sitting there thinking, how did they not figure out that he was Batman? Like the way he was running.
How about Robin when he saw them flying away? Holy Halloween!
Oh yeah, they had
Yeah.
funny.
Holy Merlin's magicians.
Uh, yeah, he also said holy bikini at one point.
Yeah, he certainly says a lot of things are holy, but
Right?
That was the one thing in the Batman and Robin movie. In the later movies, the one with Val Kilmer, I think it was Val Kilmer. When they're climbing
Yes.
the mountain, and it was like there was all kinds of holes, and it was like a metal mountain. So he's like, "Holy metal, Batman!" Batman just looked at him. He's like, "What? It's hole. It's made out of holes, or something like that." They were calling back to the TV series, but I thought that part was hilarious. In the movie, just so I had to point that out there. Because yeah, Robin's always saying, "Holy mackerel, Batman!" Holy mackerel.
leaping lizards, Batman, or something like that.
Yeah, holy this and holy that and leaping lizards. Yeah.
Leaping lizards is Annie.
Yeah, but honestly, you could almost imagine Robin saying things like that, and
And they
honestly,
actually do
I think
the
Robin gets most of the dialogue when it comes to you know
and
that
they actually
that
did that in
TV series and
the
this.
the big crossover on CW. They show Burt Ward, and he has another holy. I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically he sees that the world is about to his world is about to end because they combined like all the worlds into one. And he was on Earth 66 because of that's when Batman the TV series came out. So he was on Earth 66. And they showed Burt Ward, which I thought was great. But he had another holy something line in that, so I thought that was a nice callback.
Yeah.
But in any case, we have the dynamic duo ending up going after these underworld characters as they have figured out that they have this dehydration gun, and evidently they have gone after what we would consider the United Nations, basically, at least in here, but they call it something else in here, the United Hope, or something similar to that. United
Mm,
Nations Hope, but they end up getting there a little bit late. It looks like they turned them in. Oh, originally that's right. The Penguin shows up as that Commodore, and they take him back to their Batcave. And a little bit before that, they
Which
had
is what
actually,
he wanted, duh.
yeah, a little bit before that, we saw their goons turned into catnip or cat.
Dust.
To me, it kind of looks like cat litter, piles of cat litter.
Looked like sand to me, but
Well, when they turned the United Nations dudes into whatever, those were different colors. When they
different
turned
color
the
sand.
goons into the dust, they were like plain, just almost
Plain
like they
sand.
were nothing. But these are the greatest minds of the world, so they're all different colors of the rainbow. But
Who said they were the greatest minds of the world?
well, yeah.
Oh yeah, more like the greatest bickerers of the world.
Yeah, because they couldn't like come up with anything while they were discussing shit at that table.
Yeah,
That's how to me how politics look these days. Nobody can get along.
like when they were rehydrated, they just continued bickering, like they didn't even notice that something had been done to them.
Right.
Yeah, but then Batman, without spoiling too much, which we probably will, did say something that this could have been the greatest. This could be the greatest mix-up of minds in human history. uh, so,
Oh,
so let them have at it, and let's jump down the window. But in any case, that being said, there is definitely some comedy here because when they kidnap the Penguin comes back to the Batcave. Of course, they make sure that he's knocked out so he doesn't know the location and whatnot. And his goons arrive, and apparently because of the atomic substructure of their Batcave, the goons just kind of popped.
Well, don't forget the Penguin used the water, but he accidentally put it on heavy instead of light, which is why when they popped up and they fight them, they immediately disappeared again.
Yeah.
The heavy water made them unstable.
And I like how he was like all scared, like up on that, like that post that he was up there on, and then they take him back, and
well, Batman pretends to say, "Oh, you must have been hypnotized to bring them back, and you've been under the control of the Penguin the whole time." And blah blah blah. And Robin is looking at him like, "What? Are you high?" Like.
And so they end up taking the back car back, and he gives Robin a pill so that he can't suck in any of the bat gas that they give him to wake up.
Not bat gas, the Penguin gas.
Suddenly, the car starts having problems. They stop the car, and then the Penguin steals the car on them, and Batman's like, "Quick to the Bat Cycle,"
which was conveniently hidden right there undercover.
He should lead us back to their new hideout.
Because that was his plan.
Yep. And so they.
But he didn't ask the Penguin if he had his license.
No, he didn't.
Batman let an unlicensed man drive his vehicle.
Yeah, well, he figured he could track him back to their hideout and whatnot, and they figured out through one of the Riddler's clues that that it was at the United Hope, or United Nations, their version of the United Nations City Hall or whatever, that they were going to go and do something to them. And I do like I do like the moment where they are attacking the sub with what was it, the bat charges.
Oh yeah.
They were circling up above in their bat boat.
Well, they almost
Right, and
killed
then
the
the
United
charges,
Nations people.
and the charges hit the sub, kind of like when they're fighting with the effects.
Pow, bam, kabam, kapow.
Spudow.
And that's really the first time we actually see those words start to pop up,
Yeah.
No, they were there before that.
And again, when they were resurfaced and fighting on top of the sub, is when they actually really had the words go there. But they had in every single fight scene in the TV show that exact.
No, it was a lot less in the movie than they did in the TV show.
Yeah, it was, and it kind of disappointed me in that respect, because I was expecting it. Because that's exactly what would happen in the comic book. Whenever in the original comic book, they would show a section where it would say pop or bang or kerplunk or something like that. That would be
Oh, I
like
think the TV show was supposed to be
Or
off
Spudow.
off of the comics, and that's why they put that in there, because that stuff was written in on the comics, and I think they were trying to make the show a lot like the comics, so that's why they put those words in there.
Which I wonder what would happen if they actually mixed the dark that we actually have here with the comic that we have in the TV series and in this movie. If they mixed the two together, what would happen? Would we get like a banger of a film, just like we have been? I wouldn't mind seeing some comic relief in Batman with this darkness that they're going for lately.
Right?
Watch
Um,
Marvel.
huh?
That's to watch Marvel.
Okay. Okay, at least I'm not the only one who said this.
But in any case,
They had a
moving
few
on.
funny. They had a few funny lines in Justice League. The real
Sure.
one. Like, what are your superpowers again? I'm rich.
But in any case, I did have to laugh a little bit at the fucking sand that was in those like test tube things. I mean, when the sub was like moving back and forth.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna spill over.
Yeah, but it seemed like it was weighted down with something, because it kept like waddling back and forth, and I was like, "Come on, spill already!"
Right? Me too.
And then,
No.
of course,
But
then we get the scene shortly after that, because after all the colorful sand was mixed to get together, Batman and Robin are like standing in front of this like big ass machine with like aprons and doctor masks on, and it's like, why they just like take off their suits and like wear these doctors things that look funky, all like The
Yeah,
doctors
yeah.
over their uniform.
Well,
Yeah,
before
And
that,
they still had to keep the capes.
Bruce Wayne comes down to talk to Alfred and Robin, who are in the Batcave. He comes down just to talk to them for a moment, and he has to put on the Bat uniform just to talk to them for about 2 minutes, and then goes back up and is Bruce Wayne. So he has to get in costume just to go talk to them for like 2 minutes, and then go back. I thought that was funny.
there's also that bomb moment that he kept trying to get rid of the bomb, and
Oh, that was funny. He's just running around and no one's screaming or anything. He's just running around with his giant bomb, holding it up over his head. And he's like, some days it's hard to get rid of a bomb. He's going past the marching band and all.
Oh yeah, by the way,
I would have put it at I would have given it to the marching band because it was starting to get annoying.
I would have thrown it in the water.
right, that was my thought too. Like, why
Yeah, but
didn't
every time he tried to went to throw it in the water, there was a couple that was like in a rowboat and
A family of ducks,
a family of ducks.
some fishermen.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, by the way, when the vials were broken and the dusts were mixed together, can you guys guess how I reacted to that?
Spudow.
But out.
Yes, you know me too well. Damn.
And I noticed that Batman didn't even have that doctor's mask over his nose. It's like it's like most of these people during the pandemic times. You really think
Right.
a mask will do anything thing if it's not over your nose?
Right.
I mean, then it's just a chin diaper.
Batman had his bat mask on.
Yeah, he had his mask on, but it didn't cover his nose either, not his nostrils. When you wear a mask, it's supposed to go over your nostrils.
Fuck all that
So-
shit. I'd rather breathe.
Okay, then die of whatever airborne viruses are there. Be my guest.
Yeah, that's not funny.
But in any case, moving on. So at the end of every thing, is there anything else that anyone wants to say about any scenes that we've so far gone over?
Not sure. I can't think of anything right now.
Okay. Then maybe we should talk about production then. What did everyone think about production? What about you, PN Win?
I thought it was decent for 1966. I mean, 'cause that reminded me of the TV show, except for a lot less of the pow, bam, pow, crap. Like I remember there being a lot more than there was. So I was probably just mixing it up with the TV series. But yeah, they definitely the production was goofy, but done well for the goofiness. I mean, they embraced it. I mean, I'm not sure if they were. I don't think they were completely trying to be serious. Um, just the nature of the show. I mean, just like in the beginning when they're like, if you have a love for the bizarre and this and that and blah blah, love this movie and stuff. So they knew it wasn't normal type thing. So yeah, I think the production was pretty decent for its time.
Okay. What about you, Tammy? What did you think about the production of this film?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it was very comical, and like I said, all the props and everything were just way out there.
Hmm.
You know, just totally like really okay. At the time, I'm sure they made a big difference, but watching it now, it's like there was one time that they were going up the side of a building, and you could tell that there wasn't water in the background anymore. You could tell it was just some screen. You know what I mean? It's
Or like when they were running to the United whatever, you could tell that they were running in front of a screen, or uh, 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 even when they were in the bat boat, you could tell that they were in front of a screen. uh, you could definitely tell when they were in front of a screen and in a moving mechanical thing, just to make it look like they were on a body of water or things of that
I mean,
nature.
for its time, I thought it was really good, and I think that they intended to put most of that comedy in there, and intended to make the sets look like they did and everything, just to give it that comedy type, you know. But so I think the production was good.
Mm, At first, I thought, as I said at the beginning, I thought the costumes were a little too cheesy, but then again, I thought so because I thought this movie was made more or less at the same time as Superman, which I was wrong about, as you guys told me. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
11 years before.
Sorry, what did you say?
It came out 11 years before.
Uh, Yeah, so that was my mistake. So yeah, I guess for the time when it was made, it wasn't really that bad. But yeah, it was very goofy, but still very fun. I do have to say, although the costumes maybe were a little cheesy, I still liked Catwoman, so one can't deny that.
Oh, you should see the two Batman serials before this, from like the 1930s and 40s. The uniform was even cheesier than this uniform.
The,
So,
the, the Batmobile was a regular car. that that
um,
uh that Alfred drove them around in. It was a Rolls Royce, wasn't it?
yeah, I believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Because there was one that was called Batman from like 1939, and then there was another one from 1945 was called Batman and Robin, which was were two TV serials. That's what they called them then, serials. Um, uh,
Cereal.
yeah.
Do
It's just
you
a term for them. Just
were
if they were
you
like a one season thing, they called it a serial, or a 12 to 15 chapter thing. Uh,
was would you get it with milk?
no,
I mean, there was
Sorry.
original radio serials of Superman too, and so it wasn't just TV shows that were called serials. It was also on radio as well.
yep,
And
they called.
it's serial spelled with an S, not with a C. Serial.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I understood. I just couldn't
I know you
keep
were making a
the
joke.
yeah. I couldn't keep a stupid pun to myself.
Well, I
That's
suppose.
okay. When David would first talk to me about things like that and call it a cereal, I looked at him. I said, "A what?"
Well, you should know you're old.
I don't remember things being called cereal, not in movies or shows. So the first time he started saying it, I just looked at him like, "What are you talking about?"
They were if they were 12 to
She's forgotten
15
her old age.
chapters, they were called TV serials, and if they were a movie adaptation that had something to do with that serial, they called it a movie serial. It's just they don't refer to them as.
And don't forget radio serials.
Yep, radio serials were something too. I mean, the Lone Ranger serials. I mean, if you refer to them as that, it was. I mean, they worded things differently then, and they still call them serials from time to time. You know, if you're a film historian, you will refer to them as a mini series or a TV series from the time. But if you know the proper terms, they called them the TV serial. Like if you some people refer to like if you like you like Lucifer, Boris, that is
Yes.
a serial. So I mean they now refer to them as TV series, but because I know the
Or
term,
TV shows.
yep, or TV
Yes.
shows, it's just the original term. So
Just
especially
like some people call
for,
soda, or
especially
tonic,
for
or soda
something
pop,
that
or pop.
especially for something that only lasted for 12 episodes. Okay.
Oh, by the way,
Oh, Lucifer was quite a few seasons.
Yep.
Yeah, they should have extended that show to 666 episodes.
I would
Right?
I would define a serial as a TV series that only had a one-off season for the most part. That's what
Like Firefly.
like Firefly. That would be a serial.
Oh yeah. By the way, if you destroyed a box of cereal every day, would that make you a serial killer?
I eat a bowl of cereal every day, so just call me Toucan Son of Sam.
You're a serial killer.
Just call me Toucan Son of Sam.
The serial rapist. Anyways.
There's a group that has a song called Serial Killer. It's hilarious. It's like there's a video too, and it is based on like the serials where they're like they're killing snap crackle pop by snapping the neck, crackle and popping the necks off, and chasing Lucky down, and the killer is Toucan Son of Sam. So it's absolutely hilarious.
One thing I will say, whenever
Green Jello.
whenever the dynamic duo is like taking and going up the side of a building on a rope, oftentimes in the series, they would place someone of note like in a window and to say hello to them, or in this particular case they had someone say, "Hey, I thought I saw someone climbing."
No, he said to his wife, he's like, "You were right. There was somebody walking up the building."
But I remember one of the people that they were passing in the series being Santa Claus, and I just I just remember that.
I do not remember that.
Yeah, they passed Santa Claus on the way up, and I was like, "Oh, geez." It was a Christmas episode that they did.
Damn, I thought it was a summer one.
But in any case, they had a message saying, "All you boys and girls should be sleep in your beds," or some shit like that. It was hilarious. But in any case, I thought the production was pretty good. I loved the camera angles in Batman the series as well as in the movie, because whenever it comes to the underworld, the criminal world, they always have it at a slant, either this way or that way, and I like that with all the colors and this is what one, if it were in black and white, I probably couldn't stand it.
Welcome to my world.
Or I love black and white. Don't get me wrong, but this one,
Welcome to my world.
no, not a welcome. It's just it's good being colorful.
Welcome to my world. That's how I feel about this Larry movie.
Well,
About what?
there are things that should never be seen in color, and
And we disagree
I
on
think
that.
I think the original Dark Shadows should have kept its black and white.
I think the original Zack Shadow should never have been on, but you know, my mother would definitely be upset at me saying that, but you know.
But in any case, that being said, I mean, I do enjoy the characters of Batman. I do think that this movie was comical, more comical than the comic books made them out to be. But it had its place, and I think it still holds up to this day.
Yeah, his place in the trash can. I'm just kidding.
But I do think it holds up in certain aspects. I mean, I do get a kick out of Batman and Robin. The fact that they're overacting is rememberable. And there were so many things that
Still
Robin,
better than Kirk.
I do like Star Trek, the original.
I don't like the original Star Trek.
Nothing wrong with him. There's something wrong with you if you don't like it, anyways.
No, he was a jackass. He sucked, and that's all there was to it.
Okay, cannot be proven, but anyways, moving on. So as far as production went, yeah, I liked it. I mean, there were some cheesy moments for per se. I mean, the suits have definitely gotten better over time. Sometimes they've gotten a little worse. Like I was not a fan of Chris Nolan's suited up Batman. He beasted him up a little bit too much, and I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of Batman with guns. But the Batman Dark Knight Rises, that trilogy, Batman was never a man with guns. He just had gadgets.
Well, Krol, you do seem to like those movies. You told me to bite my tongue when I said I preferred the older ones.
I prefer the.
He's not using guns.
I prefer the Tim Burton ones, and I certainly didn't like the Bat car that was in the Chris Nolan thing. I prefer.
That was actually my favorite.
I prefer the look of the Batman vehicle in like Tim Burton's thing. I don't mind the version that was in here, which we should talk about.
The Batmobile in this one was very close second for me. I mean, it's just the classic one. I mean, it's way better than. I mean, I love Michael Keaton's Batman. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, the Batmobile was nowhere near as good as the original.
One thing I did notice with the sound though is when they're talking and everything, it's like normal, and then the minute they fight, it gets really loud. The minute
that's every movie.
It gets really loud.
That's every movie.
Yeah,
but yeah, I do want to mention music. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when they were listening to the Russian singer and she was singing in Russian, the song that she was singing is "Why Do Fools Fall in Love" by Elvis.
I'm sorry, which one?
Why do
Fools Fall in Love by Elvis. As soon as she was singing, I'm like, okay, I don't understand Russian, but I know this tune. Like, I know this tune anywhere. I've been sitting on that the whole time. Like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, I know this song. I'm like, and
Well,
like I said, I don't know Russian at all, but
honestly, once you hear the music, I mean, it was 1960s Batman. I mean, once you hear the
no, I'm not talking about that music. I'm talking about the Russian woman singing.
well, I was thinking about the score and the Batman theme. I remember listening to that
I mean,
for
who the hell don't know that?
the Batman.
Batman.
It's just like the original Spider-Man theme. You remember that one? Spider-Man does whatever a spider can.
Oh,
He
yeah.
shoots webs out his ass. That was. I'm sorry. That's actually a joke from a new movie, and I shouldn't have said it, but it was funny.
But in any case, anyone else have anything about the music? To me, it's kind of iconic. It's like one of the first Batman themes that was actually was like well noticeable.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
I thought it was neat that they hit a Elvis song in the movie, and try to cover it up by having it being sung in Russian. Which, if you don't speak Russian, you don't know. But like I said, the music is so well known that I knew right off the bat what it was. My mother was a huge Elvis fan, so I heard it all the time.
Oh, interesting.
The Batman theme was written by Neil Hefti and performed by a studio orchestra. Then we had Plaisir de Amour, which the music was done by Johann Martini, and the lyrics were done by Jean-Pierre Clarice de Florian, sung by Julie Gregg. Then, of course, they also had Oki Chiorni, Dark Eyes, which evidently was the violin serenade in a restaurant in the film. And then I guess there was also Bringing in the Sheaves, which had music by George A. Minor, and it was played by the Marching Salvation Army Band.
Oh,
I guess that's what that was, the Salvation Army Band. That was getting annoying. But in any case, did anyone have a favorite scene, favorite character? Boris, why don't you go first? Favorite scene and favorite character.
oh, interesting question. My favorite character, okay, maybe I'm biased, but my favorite character was Catwoman because, well, she's the only, uh, well, not only the only good-looking woman, but probably the only woman altogether in the whole movie.
No, you forgot about Robin's aunt. She was sitting next to Alfred.
Okay.
She was in the TV series as well.
Oh,
I wish we would have gotten Batgirl in here too, or Batwoman, or
I mean, if you
yeah,
notice, the Batcopter had 3 seats, not 2.
yeah.
So there was room for Batgirl.
Oh yeah. Huh.
But I don't think Batgirl was around yet.
No, Barbara Gordon was not around yet until probably the second season.
Interesting. Well, but yeah, and I'm generally a fan of women in outfits similar to what Catwoman was wearing here. So yeah, she was the one who drew most of my attention here.
And the series had a little bit of a different thing going on. They had like 2-part episodes. They would have a cliffhanger at the end of an episode, and then they'd have a narrator saying, "Will Batman escape such and such?" And
Yeah, it
will
would always be the
save
Joker
him?
or somebody got them in some kind of trap where they would explain their sidious plan because they knew Batman and Robin were going to die anyways, and of course Batman and Robin would get out of it and foil their plans because they, explained everything.
Yeah, and honestly, originally when it aired, they would have the first part of the episode, and then they'd have you wait until the next week in order to see the second one. So
Yeah.
that was part of the anticipation.
That was the weekly cliffhanger.
Yeah. No, as far as my favorite scene goes, I guess it would probably be the shark scene. Or
Sharknado before it was Sharknado.
right, yeah.
No, this is way better than Sharknado.
No, Sharknado was actually pretty good.
Sharknado actually sucks, but yeah, that's pretty funny.
But anyways, moving on. How about you, P and Gwen? Favorite character and favorite scene?
Batman. Yeah, I do like looking at women, and especially ones dressed like Catwoman and stuff. But still, Batman is just gotta be my favorite. And I also like Julie Newman better as Catwoman. Not saying Lee Merriweather she didn't do a bad job. She was good, but yeah, I liked Julie Newman more as Catwoman. And the favorite scene, well, unfortunately, Boris stole my thunder, but yeah, the shark. I just like I
Sorry.
said, I laughed so hard, a belly laugh, and it was just so loud and so just like I just completely forgot about that scene. And I just the second the Batman came up with the shark on his leg, I was laughing until he's being sprayed back into the water, and it was just absolutely so funny, and then definitely has to rank as the best scene in the entire movie. So.
And when the shark exploded, sput out!
Yeah.
Alrighty. Is that it then for your?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Moosleen over there. Favorite character and favorite scene.
Well, you both stole my favorite scene, man. And the shark was my favorite scene. I even told David last night that was my favorite scene when we were watching it. But
Well, it's fine if we all
The second I saw it today, I was like, "Oh God, this is my favorite scene." And I watched the rest of the movie and said, "Yeah, that was."
well, yes. So, and I'm not being weird or anything like that, but my favorite character is Catwoman. I just like Catwoman because, well, in fact, I have a cat laying on me
She's
right now.
perfect.
Right?
Yes, I have a cat laying on me right now. So,
I'm gonna be a little strange here and say that my favorite character has always been the Riddler. Frank Gershon as the Riddler, because he comes up with some fancy riddles and stuff, and he just even in that spandex, he fulfills and brings the character to light, and I think Jim Carrey did a decent job of.
I was about to say Jim Carrey is actually my favorite Riddler. He's over the top, but it just works so great for the character.
My
and,
favorite modern day.
It's just so funny.
My favorite modern day Riddler would have to be Gotham's Riddler. I liked him in the Riddler role. The guy who played
He was great. It's hard to compare it because you got Jim Carrey was in a movie, so it's just 2 hours and that's it. Where Gotham, you had quite a few seasons of the Riddler. And you got a really in-depth look at the character and everything about him. So yeah, he was definitely a great Riddler. But
Does anybody else feel like a fried egg? Sorry, I had to.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big bats?
But yeah, favorite scene, I'll have to go with the shark scene was pretty funny. But my favorite scene was where could I put the bomb scene. Because he kept running everywhere. There was a mother with a baby carriage. There was the Salvation Army. There was people in a boat. There was the baby ducklings. He just couldn't find a place to put the bomb.
It felt like he did that he ran around for almost 10 minutes. It felt like because of with that bomb,
It reminded me of DCUO, which is DC Legends Online. DC Universe Online, and you played characters, and there's actually a scene where or part of the game where you have to keep picking up bombs and toss them into the river, and you have to run around with holding them over your head until you toss them into the river. So they definitely took that from this movie, and I thought that was great. Had to throw that in there.
But in any case, is there anything else that anyone wants to say about the film before we end the discussion? I mean, I know I somewhat like grazed through this because there are so many like little scenes that, and the film is colorful, just like the show. The world of the underworld crime syndicate, I think that there was definitely a lot of detail done to that world, and honestly, I see some similarities between this city of Gotham and New York, just like we saw similarities of Metropolis as New York.
Yeah.
What do you think, Penguin? Do you think that Gotham City has some similarities to New York
Well,
as well?
I mean, in later movies, they basically Gotham is across the pond from Metropolis, so it would make sense that they might look somewhat similar, being so close together and obviously in the same state. In the DC world, it's a funny thing about DC is they never used real life cities, even though there is a Metropolis, Illinois. That's not supposed to be the metropolis that they're in. So just neat how they do that.
Oh yeah,
But they definitely do look a lot like the New York City.
oh yeah. But in any case, that has been our discussion for today, folks. Hopefully, you haven't been too holy Batmania'd out. But leaping lizards, Robin. Let's get to the Batmobile. The Joker's got away. So let's end this discussion, and we'll figure out who we are. So, Penguin, who are you really, and what do you do?
Oh, I'm Krol, or also known as Ron, by close people near me. I'm disabled, so I don't work. So I just play video games and watch TV, watch movies, come on this podcast, and come on another podcast on Tuesday nights. And I really love talking about movies. Love talking about TV shows too, but we don't have an outlet for that right yet. Maybe I'll just start my own YouTube and do that. Probably won't, but it's an idea. I was never a huge YouTube fan when it came out. Everyone would talk about watching this on YouTube, watching that. And I never really watched nothing. And it wasn't until game I played, I started watching Sky Arnold on YouTube that I really started even watching YouTube. But you know, it has its uses, just like anything else. Um, but yeah, I also love reading as well. I read I was in a comic book club, so I got to read a lot of comics. I didn't read a lot of comics as a kid. I read mostly G.I. Joe and Transformers, but that's all I could afford. I loved DC and Marvel, but there was so many of different titles and stuff that I didn't even know where to begin, so I never began. Um, but yeah, I do enjoy the comic books. I love novels. I read a ton of Star Wars books. Basically, all I read right now is Star Wars books. I want to read them all. I've read close to 200 books, and still got another 100 or so in canon to read. I mean, I'm in legendary to read, and then guess I might start the canon as well. Well, yeah, that's me. Just a typical
Okay.
nerd.
Heading over to you, Boris. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So, my real name is Philip. As many of you know who watch our discussions, Boris is my nickname based on the character I played in a short movie I made for Joe Sherlock's anthology Dark Zone 13. Uh, I'm a fan of movies. I'm usually mostly into the horror genre, but with you guys, I can do any movie mostly. And I'm also a writer, mostly an unpublished one, except for a poetry book I have on Amazon and a short story that's about to come out in a local horror anthology book. It's not in English, unfortunately, but yeah, I have mostly been into writing these days, and I'm looking for a job if that's what anyone is interested in knowing. Aside from that, I don't know what to say, but if anyone wants to ask me anything, I'm here.
Okay. Well, even though you're a fan, I'm sure this is also a opportunity for you to figure out what exactly you do or don't like that is not horror, to say the least. Um,
Yeah,
but
the,
in any case, Tammy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I'm David's fiance.
you're
14.
a Muslim.
And she admits that too.
Yeah, it'll be
That's news to
14.
me.
It'll be 14 years this month.
Oh crap! 15
Yeah, I
years
know.
too
15 years too long.
long.
You
But
deserve a medal.
but anyways, I go on this site and another to check out movies, talk about them with everybody, get to know more about the movies myself. I collect movies and music, and now that it's summer, I play with my 1972 Grand Prix.
Cool. And
Cool.
I know that you'll be bringing it out for Father's Day since Portrait has their annual 40th um, 40th year. So, in any case, my name is David Streggy. I'm one of the founding fathers of Inside Movies Galore, where we uh, go on and talk about various films uh, and we have fun doing the same thing that we're doing here on Delusions of Grandeur, where we have been having an adventurous time through film history. I mean, this film was done in 1966. That was what almost 60 years ago already. So
Yeah.
um, that being said, I also do some video reviews and video pickups on this channel. So go on the channel and let us know what you thought of this film if you've seen it. And next week we'll have something more in store for you as we talk about the man who knows how to write the letter Z with a sword. So stay tuned for an exciting film discussion next Sunday. And hopefully you'll see the dynamic duo again in the future.
And don't forget, next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
And don't fight forest fires, kids.
Don't
Everyone
stop
say
forest fires.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Good riddance.
Sput out.